This information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument. All trades involve risk, and you should only trade with money you can afford to lose. I am not a licensed financial advisor. The trades and strategies shown are my own opinions and are shared purely for transparency and learning purposes. Past performances does not guarantee future results. Always do your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any trade decisions. So, in Apple, and if you don't know, I use the top down method. So, I'm starting on the day, and I left my demand zone on there because it seems like an important zone. As you can see, it kind of bounces off of there, comes down, bounces again. And we're probably like on our third or fourth bounce. So you kind of have to be aware of the fact that it's kind of losing some of the spring and elasticity, as they kind of say. So what I like to do on the day is trying to find points where there's confluence, meaning there's a lot of wicks or the battle between the sellers and the buyers where they kind of deem fair price. And something that jumps out to me right away is that gap. And if you can see over here where I put that X on the screen, there's a gap. So I'm gonna throw a line in there because I feel like there's a gap there, there's a gap there. There's some level of importance that's going on with that gap. So I want to highlight that guy. Another line I'd probably put is right here. Again, there's another gap. And I don't really want to go too far over that. So on the 4 hour, and I use white lines for the day. So 4 hours, I'm gonna try something new because I never really had a 4 hour. But as the more I learn, the more I kind of drill down. If you're kind of doing like day trading, I kind of got rid of the week and the month because I was doing more research, and it kind of doesn't really benefit us as much as possible, as much as I thought it did. And you'll do that as you come along. When you learn more things, you kind of just figure out like, okay, let me play with this, and I'm gonna mess around this for a month and then back test it and see if I'm onto something. So anyway, I'm gonna turn the 4 hour. Let's turn it into a yellow because it'll stand out. And I know that's my 4 hour by putting something on there and label that guy. So that's my 4 hour line. And I don't want too many lines because I don't want this to become a little bit overwhelming. And I'm new to Apple, so what I like to do is I also like to sorry guys, going under my indicator. I'll just look for it. Intraday levels. And what I'm doing with this, or what I like to do is I like the pre-market high, pre-market low, previous day high, previous day low. All the other stuff I like to turn it off because I got enough noise going on this chart, as you could probably see. So I'm just gonna uncheck all this, and then I'll save it on my chart. And then the next time I come back, it should automatically just be there. So we won't have to worry about that. Sorry about this, but we're almost done here. Check all these guys. And if there's a better way to do this or some trick, you guys drop a comment in there, let me know so it doesn't have to be painful. But we're not going to do this again because I'm going to go right up here and I'm going to save that. So now that's just going to be part of my chart. So on the 4 hours, and the reason why everything kind of disappeared is we got to go into extended trade sessions, and then you should see everything we need in here. And as you can see, Apple's already kind of getting up there. And in between that 4 hour and that day line, you can see, I think that's the pre-market high. Well, that previous day. It's not really showing me. Maybe I took too many things out. But anyway, what I like to do is I kind of like to have those lines kind of signify. And as you can see, this is probably the previous day high, those blue lines. And I think that's what I did. I got rid of too much. And that's what happened. Okay. So now we're back. Pre-market high, pre-market low. And as you can see, it's in there. And then the previous day high and the previous day low, which coincides with this demand zone, right? So that demand zones, that tells us there's something here too. Like if we already mapped this demand zone where price is going to hit it and then jump off of that, like kind of like a springboard or a trampoline, so to speak, that means there's something there, right? So we need to keep our eye on that. And as you go through the chart history, kind of shows that there's something there, right? So now we open this bad boy back up. And we got that. Let's go down to the hour to kind of get more of an in-depth. And I will turn this off the previous day. I might even just want to throw in a line there. Sorry, my OCD. I just kind of need capitals. Okay, and the style of the line. What I like to do is make it a little bit thinner. And I'll turn that into blue. And I won't touch that previous day one. I won't create one for that because we kind of already know that there's something there with our supplies demand zone in there. So we don't need too much going on in there. So now we have a previous day, and I'll drag that down. So now what I'm looking for on the hour is indicators to tell me kind of where price is. So price kind of shot up. And what I would normally do if I was playing this chart, probably put my fib on. And I'd start from the candle. And I'd probably look for, okay, like retracement. So if it comes back here, which is 256.99, there might be a good chance that it's going to keep going to at least to this point or right here. And why I say that is if you notice in between this day line and this 4 hour line, price has kind of been bouncing in between there, but it hasn't really bounced out, really. So, and if I do see it going, that thing's killing me. If I do see it going, I would think it would want to fill this gap a little bit and take all that liquidity that's inside of here. Like all this liquidity, I feel like it's going to come and snatch that, and it might just go back down. So back to what we're normally saying. Okay, so if it retraces here, I think it's going back up. And my first take profit would be here. And that would be, got to bring out my trusty bull, TP1, and then I would change that to green. Nope, that's not what I want to change to green. I want to change the line to green. So we know that's TP1, not TP explanation. Okay, and like I was saying, I think TP2 for me, and think second thought about it, right? I actually think it might clear that. And this is what you want to do. Like you kind of want to just think about this and holistically because that's that line with the day line. I think it's gonna break that day line because there's volatility in here. I think it might snatch up too. And if it keeps going, which I think it may, I think this is where my next TP2 is. And I know it's a jump, but there's nothing in there as far as like I think it stops right here, takes more liquidity, goes right here, and then it might pause out. And that would be my TP2. TP2, okay. So I have my take profit side on the call side. So what I'd like to see right now is if it hits here, which I expect, if price comes to here and then pulls back, I actually think it's coming back to this neckline right here. So there, that's my TP1. And I changed that line to red. I put my bear in there so you know what time it is. So my second level will be right here in the second tier of that actual neckline. It's almost like a secondary neckline, kind of look, so to speak, but there's a lot of liquidity there. And I'm still kind of getting used to Apple because Apple moves twice as fast as what I'm normally, because usually I'm in Tempest AI. So bear with me. Just working through it in real time. So you have your TP1, TP2. I'll move this out of here. And in between that is your previous day high. So you want to be aware of that 256.19 point. Like if it drops down and you're in here and you hit your first take profit, I don't know how you guys might do. Let's say you have two contracts. You might sell one, leave the other one in. That way you lock in some profit. If something happens, then you know what I mean, you could jump out and you didn't really lose anything. At that point, you're playing with house money. So just my thoughts on the day. That's it.